And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Hey folks, I'm Tom Vasel, and welcome to the Dice Tower. Today we're taking a look at an expansion for Marvel Legendary Champions. This is based on a new team of teenagers who kind of left the X-Men, not the X-Men, they left the Avengers because they're getting a little tired of collateral damage, basically. They wanted to be heroes. They want to be people who were applauded by folks. You know, they go out and they feel good. That's kind of their goal, and they're a very jovial, fun group to follow. I have enjoyed their comic series. It's been out, I don't know, a couple years now. Very fun. And so I was glad to see an expansion made for them. I like Marvel Legendary. I think there's probably enough Marvel Legendary in existence, but hey, let's add some more heroes and a couple more villains. Take a look. Okay, so we'll start with the first character, Gwenpool, who's one of my least favorite characters in the Marvel Universe, but she's fine in this game. So she is size changing. Size changing was introduced in another set, but that basically means if you have this in your hand, you will be able to pay 2 less. So this would cost 4 rather than 6 when you bought it. And it's a 2 attack and can be combined to draw a card, but it also has Cheering Crowns. Now, Cheering Crowns is interesting because it means you can play the card twice. Now, interestingly enough, that means when I play this card straight up, it lets me do 2 attack. And if I've not played any other card, this gives me the symbol to be able, when I play it the second time, to give me another one. So this is 4 attack and draw a card. Now, if I've already played, let's say this one first, then it would be 4 attack and draw 2 cards. So Cheering Crowds, however, for Cheering Crowds to work, you have to discard a bystander. So you're getting rid of a bystander. Hopefully you're not playing a scenario where you need to rescue bystanders. She also has Versatile. This was introduced before, where it's basically 1 money or 1 attack. And it could be Versatile 3, which is pretty cool. And then Demolish each other player. Demolishes in this game. Normally it's bad guys, but hey, Gwenpool does what she wants. And you draw the top card off the hero deck, and everyone has to discard a card. And so for each person she makes doing that way, she draws a card. Meh. You also notice that her things here, I heard keywords are powerful. Come on, no one reads card names. I'm the best at board games. I'll rescue if I feel like it. Very meta, right? Similar to the Deadpool set. Then we have Vision, who is Vision's daughter. She also has size changing here, which makes it cheaper to buy these cards. And when she recruits a hero, get +2 attack. This is her big one. This has 2 different symbols for size changing. So when you buy this one, it could be 4 less. So you could buy this one for 5. Which, since it gives you 5 attack, that could be pretty powerful. Walking Wet here, Versatile and Cheering Crowds again. Then we have Hulk. Now, this is not Bruce Banner Hulk. I'm sorry, not Hulk. I'm sorry, I'm looking at Nova. Hulk's on this picture. But Nova, he's basically versatile. He's actually one of my favorite characters because this one's Versatile 1, Versatile 2 with Cheering Crowds, which is great. And Versatile 3, which also, it's actually a 2 attack and a possibility of being Versatile 3. And his big one here is size changing. For each other card you play this turn with a money icon, you get +1. For each other card you play with a attack icon, you get +1. That's not good for a 9 cost, but if you get the discount of 4 for 5 cost, that's pretty useful. All right, so Amadeus Cho, he's the new Hulk, and he can just turn the Hulk whenever he wants, not just when he's angry. And so all his cards have size changing on them. This one lets him rescue a bystander. This one lets him get rid of wounds or gain them to get rid of them later on. This one's interesting. You get +1 attack for each extra card you drew this turn. So if you manage to draw more cards, this can be very powerful. Then one of my favorite heroes in the new Marvel Universe is Ms. Marvel, who's kind of like a female Mr. Fantastic who's not so brainy, but just going out and having fun fighting crime. So all her cards also have size changing. What's interesting is all these characters' cards have rescue a bystander and then Cheering Crowds. So you rescue them and then they cheer you on your way. Her big attack here, a Versatile 4, that's Cheering Crowds, is pretty potent. I like it a lot. There's also bad guys. We got the Wrecking Crew. It's kind of surprising that it's been this long since the Wrecking Crew has shown up. But I do like them. They mostly have demolishing special abilities. So you can see the different ones here. And then we have Monsters Unleashed. What's interesting about the Monsters Unleashed is every single one is different. Most of them are size changing, which means it's easier to defeat them if you have those symbols on them. Although this little dude here, really easy to beat, but you can't beat him unless you beat somebody else. That's some nasty looking spore creature. This guy is a pretty powerful one, but this one, look, he's a 12, ordinary creature, but size changing of all 5 things, so you'll never pay 12 when you take him out. 2 new masterminds. We have Fin Fang Foom, who is a 20, humongous number. We're talking Galactus number size, but he could be reduced size changing. You could get him down to a 10. He's kind of a very straightforward type of person. You know, his Master Strike is just demolish each player, plus the monsters. He brings the monsters with him. He's like a big giant creature that's not awfully terrible, but they're big. And just like all the new masterminds, double-sided to make them even harder. Then we have Pagliacci. This guy is interesting to me because he brings the wrecking crew. I don't care about that. He's kind of like a mastermind. I'm not even sure I've read a comic where that he's in. Maybe I have. But he's forgettable. But what's interesting is his Master Strikes 1 and 5 become schemes. Now that's really intriguing because there's so many scheme twists out there where they're like countdowns for the game and do different things. The fact that he can turn the Master Strikes into twists is really, really potent. And then, of course, there's some new schemes in here. This adds an extra henchman group, and villains are trying to escape. This divide and conquer, where you split your hero deck by the different types, and it comes out into each one. First, it sounds good. You're like, oh, good, we're always going to have a variety of cards to buy from. But twists 4 through 8 KO a whole deck. And when all the decks are gone, this is a very quick timer. Another timer, steal oxygen on Earth, which cracks me up just because it sounds like such a 60s things. We will steal oxygen on Earth. That's just another timer, basically, where we'll be killing the heroes out there. And then Clash of the Monsters Unleashed, which you have to basically beat villains so that they can go up against these monsters that will come out. Anyway, there's not a ton of stuff in this set. It's a pretty small set overall, but yeah, that's what they're, the champions. Okay, so this is not a must-have, right? This is just a good set. I don't really care for Gwenpool. For the same reason I wasn't a big fan of the Deadpool set earlier. This whole in-your-face, like, ha ha ha, breaking the fourth wall. Okay, that's fine. But she's very minor in this. There's no, like, major earth-shaking things. I do like the cheering crowds. That doesn't happen as much as you might think because you actually need to get bystanders. And if you're going to play with these, I think to help yourself out. Like, you should be picking random schemes and masterminds. Don't pick a scheme where you need to rescue a lot of bystanders, because then all of a sudden all those cheering crowd cards become fairly ineffective because you can't afford to use bystanders. But most of these characters also, like I said, have the card where you can rescue bystanders, and then you set them free and they cheer you on. So I like that concept. I like the idea of being able to play a card twice. That's fun. And these, as with most of the sets, Marvel Legendary tends to do this. These guys work well together. You can pick these guys and put them together in a group and then fight them against Fin Fang Foom or whatever his name is and all the monsters. The monster thing happened, I don't know, a year or so ago, and it was a fun, just a romp. I was thinking how non-scary, how weird Marvel Universe is when big giant monsters show up, and I'm like, I guess they should fight these things, as opposed to how awful a big giant monster would be. A silly, fun-loving group of heroes, and that's kind of what comes through in this vibe. So, like I said, not a must-have, but unless you love these characters, in which case you get it, but it's a fun addition to the game as it is. Dice Tower Judgment, approved!
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.
Shut the door.